Welcome, everybody, to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 39. This is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about Fallout and gaming news, and we have a dedicated Fallout/Bethesda-oriented topic. I am Caedo Genesis, joined by my co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Howdy.
And Jared of Jawred Gaming.
Greetings.
And we have a lot of cool things to talk about today because we have some cool sales, and we have the retcon, the Fallout retconned canon topic, which is something that comes up pretty regularly in the Fallout community, thanks to the franchise itself switching from Interplay to Bethesda. So, without further ado, let's start with the tip of the day.
Tip of the day is wear a mask. When you're wearing your mask, make sure it covers your nose, your mouth, and your chin. Otherwise, you're not wearing a mask, you've just, got a bit of fabric over part of your face. So, actually wear the mask properly. Anytime you go outside, leave the house, have your mask on. Simple.
Yep. Bring them with you, too. You might find yourself in a situation, even if you're driving somewhere where you have to, go into a gas station or go into a shop or whatever. And just be prepared. Be considerate of the people around you. I know in the U.S., the cases of COVID-19 have been skyrocketing, so this is the most important time to make sure you are being considerate of others because you don't want to spread a deadly virus.
Is it kind of weird to think that this is going to be normal from now on? Like people when they leave their house, they check for their wallets, they check for their watch, they know the whole spiel, and now we've got to add mask to that. I just think it's a wild thought.
If that starts being second nature.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's an interesting observation to think that that's now being added to the arsenal of leaving your home paraphernalia.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's almost surreal that we are living in this time.
Yeah. At the beginning, I myself was pretty in denial about the virus in general.
Same.
But the sooner that we get past that point, and then being in the acceptance side and being like, this could kill people, and then taking whatever steps we can, and it has, and taking whatever steps we can to help not spread the virus up until the point to where we get a vaccine, where we'll have a new level of crowded at wherever we can get the vaccine. Overall, what we're trying to say is we want everyone to stay alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very important. Good. You got to be alive to enjoy video games. So
yes,
let's help each other out. Make sure you wear a mask. Moving on to something less gloomy.
Yes.
Comment of the cast.
Comment of the cast is by Sheldon J. Plankton. And he addresses it straight to Caedo. Caedo, if I had a podcast questions, how can I ask them to you?
And you can actually answer that too, because this is where we get the questions anyway.
Well, I imagine that if anyone, Sheldon included, wanted to ask anyone a question, they could just leave a comment in the comment section. Or they could join the Discords and ask the questions directly to you. Or if you had a question for Sarge or myself, you could do the same thing. There's a multitude of ways to ask questions and receive answers.
Yes. We all have social media too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't use Twitter very much, but I do check it pretty often.
Yeah. I use Twitter at BADCompanySarge. Give me a follow. Do it. Yeah, I'll plug myself there.
Nice. That was quick too. I really respect that.
It's only because I've started plugging the Twitter more recently. I made a live stream banner with my Twitter handle, so I'm actually remembering it now.
Okay.
Sarge also reads off his links out loud, so that's part of it too. Yeah, I think. I think it's the update 20 video that you did. I'm pretty sure any video prior to that, you just say youtube.com/BADCompanySarge or patreon.com/BADCompanySarge or whichever.
Yep. You say it enough, people remember it. It's a way to do it.
Yeah.
I might take that into consideration for my own stuff.
Yeah. I'm also, slightly unrelated, but similar, is in the video that comes out on the day we're recording this, which will be yesterday from podcast date, I'm trying to get into the habit of actually referring to my subscribers as Bad Company, which was the original plan. So that hopefully will get drilled into everyone's head over the next few months.
Hey, and then you can make merch.
Yep. That's the way to do it. Hey guys, you want to join Bad Company? Have a shirt which says Bad Company on it. It's way easier than any of the other merch designs I came up with.
or like I'm Bad Company.
Yep.
Works for me. So how about those news topics? We have one in particular that is exciting for the Fallout franchise. If you guys haven't heard of it yet, there's going to be a series or show related to Fallout on Amazon. I mean, through Amazon Studios to start with, I think.
Yep.
And Kilter Films, which were handpicked for making whatever this Fallout series is going to be. And the teaser was just a please stand by screen, like most of the Fallout teasers we've ever gotten in the past. But we have a lot more information directly from Bethesda.net, and we know that they're up at the top. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy
Yep.
are the people heading the project. There was a suggestion. I think roommate Kite made the suggestion, is what cameos or what storyline type or theming would we like to see in this series, kind of thing. Because right now it's all up in the air, right?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that because it was Bethesda Studios kind of making this thing happen, that it may be an East Coast thing to start with. Or we might be surprised. It might be an origin story of like Vault 13 and stuff like that.
Now, what I want is nothing like that. I'd like to see an anthology similar to like Love, Death and Robots, or the other one which I had in my brain but can't think of. Basically a whole bunch of different stories from like different wastelanders and stuff. So then you can have a person trapped inside a vault, you can have like the story coming from a perspective of Ghoul, you can have a raider, you can have a super mutant, you can get a lot of different perspectives that way. And it also means that people can jump in for one episode and get more of a feel to the world without having to also learn all about the world and all of its intricacies at the same time as developing bonds with the characters, which might not work so well if this is only going to be like a single series to start, which is more likely considering that it's only in like some form of development right now.
Mm-hmm.
So more of like a collection of short stories versus a continuous long story between many different series.
Yeah,
that's kind of a cool idea, actually.
I do like that idea, because I saw some of Love, Death and Robots, like a couple of the episodes. Obviously, they're all self-contained stories, so you know, you see one episode, you get what that episode has to offer, or what that story has to offer. Was Animatrix the other thing?
It wasn't the thing I was thinking of. I was thinking of like this horror anthology which goes through like each of the holidays and has like a horror themed story on. It's on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called though. It was lots of fun. I think with the Fallout one though, you could string together several anthology episodes into a narrative that then strings together. Maybe like you have all these individual people who end up being linked in some way. Similar to how I've done a couple of my character build series in the past. Yeah, Bethesda, maybe hire me if you're still in writing stages.
Dang. On a roll, aren't you?
Yeah.
Trying to
Sarge is the
diversify
writer.
and branch out there.
That's
Dang.
Sarge does the writing. That's what happens.
I think it's definitely doable. I mean, like you said, you've obviously mentioned a series that have been successful with that. That being said, I would be really surprised if they went that route.
Yeah.
Just because the popularity of the traditional television show. And I think something like this, you're already taking something that is considered to be quite popular, the Fallout franchise, and adapting it into another format that is already popularized in the form of television TV series. If you're to divert too much, I think, from successful formula, then you're probably risking too much, and they probably wouldn't do it. As much as it's a good idea. I absolutely agree. I would love to see that. I would love to see that of many different things. Like, I've been wanting like a good like Star Wars. I mean, I know we have like Mandalorian and stuff like that, but I was always wanted a Star Wars series kind of like that, where it was just a different story about different people. I even wanted this of like a Elder Scrolls type of thing, different each episode being a different story about different people. So I'm totally on board 100% with that idea.
Anywhere
I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Interesting world. Just if you've got an interesting world to build around, anthology series are like the best thing you can do. But like you say, it's probably not going to be like that because it's a safer bet just to go with, oh, here's a narrative where you follow this character and can be invested. Because an advantage of TV is you've got more time with a character, so you can make people feel emotions and stuff rather than just sprinting through them.
Yeah, it's all about that connection. It's all about that emotional connection with the protagonists.
Part of what I'm hoping though is that they get the dark humor part right, because I know that Westworld was one of the things that Nolan did or was in the team behind. Westworld. Yeah. And I know that Westworld itself is dark, but I don't humor doesn't come to mind when I hear people talk about it. So right. I'm wondering how that's going to be executed, or if that's why Lisa Joy is part of it. I'm not familiar with her work at all, actually. But I'm hoping that there is in a okay balance still, because that's part of what makes Fallout enjoyable as players, right? Is the entertainment factor and the laughter that goes alongside the bleak, depressing world kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a couple of Bethesda people. It was Todd Howard and I've got to boot up the article to check who the other person is. But they've got people from Bethesda, and although nowadays Todd Howard gets like a surprising amount of flack and stuff, I feel like he's more than happy to go into the comedic side. Like, just from watching him like give presentations at E3's past and stuff, he's perfectly happy to kind of joke about as much as he is present, it seems, which is nice. Like when he called us all degenerates, you guys remember that? It's my favourite Todd Howard moment. Yeah. I feel like because they're working with people from the studio, and it's not like just one side or the other, I feel like that should give a good balance. But yeah,
I really hope that either Jonathan Nolan, Lisa Joy, or whoever they decide to cast as like the main protagonist, I hope they kind of do what they did with The Witcher. What was the guy's name who played The Witcher, the main actor?
Henry Cavill.
Thank you. He's noted for playing like 300 hours of The Witcher before doing the role. I hope that someone plays the games.
I mean,
a bunch of hours at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 1,000 hours in Fallout 4, so Bethesda, you want to get the lead casting? I'm available.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Who played Benny in New Vegas?
The guy who played Chandler in Friends.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry?
Matthew Perry. What if they got Matthew Perry? I'm sure he would be so into it.
Yeah. I mean, I know people weren't particularly happy with his performance as Benny. I never had, like, huge gripes with it, to be honest.
I didn't have a problem with it. He was a character.
Nothing ever stood out about his character that I thought was bad. It's just a character.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get more onto this later, but I've been playing Oblivion lately as well, and the voice acting in that is trash. So in comparison...
Oh, boy.
They literally have different voice actors for the same characters in conversations at points. It's ridiculous.
Well, they only had what, like 5 voice actors for all the characters in the game, not including obviously Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean, but you know, and the famous actors. But I think they only had like 5 like literal actors.
It's ridiculously small.
all the budget, budget went into them, and
all the budget went into the AI, and look how well that turned out.
Yeah.
Seen a mud crab today. Goodbye.
Who else? Oh, Eric Todd Dellums. What if they got him back?
Who's that?
To do something Fallout show related too. He's the voice of Three Dog.
Oh.
He got dropped from being a potential for Fallout 4, and like I don't think he really heard anything besides he wasn't going to be a part of it.
Hmm.
And like most of the fans like want Three Dog to come back in some capacity.
Right.
Like even giving him that chance, because obviously he's knowledgeable in Fallout up to a point, and he knows how to act, at least with his voice. So
Yeah, I mean, you can even have like cameos for stuff like that. Like, I could very well picture the opening of the first episode is zoomed on a TV with a please stand by screen. It does the zoom out to the wasteland. Then you see like your lone Vault Dweller person from the Pip-Boy close-up shot, and you hear the voice of Free Dog, and then the Pip-Boy gets turned off and it goes into sniper shooting raiders. That'd be like,
Yeah.
There you go. I've wrote the opening for you guys. Why aren't I hired yet? Come on.
If I was them, I would totally hire you. Well, so I think it depends on when this is going to take place. Is this going to take place, like you were saying, like Origins, or is this going to be later down the road, like the modern games? You know, I mean, like,
Yeah,
I think that really is all going to depend on when this show takes place, unless it takes place across a large span of time.
I want to say, like, if they are establishing a brand new series for a general audience too, that they're going to need to create the premise in some way. So like kind of how they did in Fallout 4, they did the whole like pre-war segment kind of thing, and then you were there for the bombs dropping,
Right.
essentially, or have, you know, a narration at the beginning, like most of the earlier Fallout games, just explaining like the world just nuked itself and we're rising from whatever
Man,
patch of radiated muck that we've been under.
I really don't want it to be like that. Like, I imagine that's how it's gonna be. It's like, oh, the lone survivor's got to deal with the whole new world, and he's so torn up about how the world used to be. I'd like, no, I've seen that story so many times on every post-apocalyptic thing out there. Like, that's every zombie movie,
And
pretty
that's,
much.
That's why that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, but they can do something so cool with this.
Oh, they could.
And here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be terrible no matter what.
Right.
But I think it has huge potential to just kind of be a bit bland and basic.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear right now.
I think
Yeah.
either way, someone's going to be disappointed. I think either way, there's going to be so much expectation that it'll be absolutely impossible to meet those expectations for anyone.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because even the fans are so divisive about what they like and don't like.
Yeah,
Like-
totally.
There's not going to be any one thing that they do that's just going to be like, we're all fine with it. That's never going to
A
happen.
united fan base? What?
No.
No.
It's literally impossible to make every Fallout fan happy.
Yeah.
Exactly my point, though. I mean, I think that has to be considered, though. I think you have to consider that it is literally impossible for them to make a Fallout TV series that's just going to checkmark every box in everybody's list of everything that they want to see happen. And if one of those things doesn't happen, I'm not watching it. If this certain one thing doesn't happen, I don't want to even watch it. You know, it's impossible. And I think any responsible Fallout fan needs to know that and realize that before before we get any more information on this series. Set your expectations properly. I mean, I can't stress how important that is. Like, for a person, my interests are broad. I try not to limit myself, and I try not to listen to other people's opinions, because other people's opinions can sometimes influence your own. And as someone who's of that perspective, it's just like, I've definitely try to practice setting proper expectations, because I want to be able to enjoy it, and I don't want other people to tell me how to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, perfect example is the new Star Wars movies. So many people said, don't watch them, don't waste your time, it'll ruin Star Wars for you. And I went a very long time without watching them, and then I finally watched them and I really enjoyed them. And I'm really was pissed off that I let people determine my my actions in that. So just set your expectations, set them right. Don't set them low necessarily. Is not what I'm trying to say. Just keep an open mind, I guess.
So dream actors or dream cameos. What would you want? Either characters to make a reappearance, or like what actors you would want to see. Obviously Keanu Reeves. I want him in everything.
Yes.
But beyond
Yes.
Keanu Reeves.
If Keanu Reeves is not in it, I'm not watching it. Oh man, that dude, that honestly, maybe that should be the topic for our next PIPCAST. That's a huge topic right there.
Just Keanu Reeves.
Just Keanu. Okay.
Yeah, the topic
end.
for next one is just about Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. We go through all of his movies that he's been in.
Yeah.
Like what our favorite moments were, kind of thing. It'll be like 12 hours.
I mean, with casting and reoccurring characters from the actual franchise, I kind of don't want to see too much of that personally. I feel like there's gonna be far too many voices that when there's something very obviously linked to like a character or a faction or stuff from the games, that it's just gonna create more grief than it's worth. I'd like to see like tiny little references, like maybe in the desert you can see like maybe just a tiny bit of like a Centurion armor, and you're like, and just have that as like a little Easter egg. And I'd love for the series to be filled with Easter eggs, but
Yeah.
I'd much rather have like new characters and an exploration of the world rather than focusing on stuff that's already been explored within the games.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that actually.
I may not fully agree because
Oh my god.
one of the things that frustrates fans with the newer games especially is when you remove so many factions and origins, then it doesn't seem to fit the Fallout mold as easy. So if this Fallout series had no super mutants, no Brotherhood of Steel, Raiders come out of anywhere.
Yeah.
No Death Claws, and we were just left with whatever's left.
I mean, you can still have those stuff. I'm talking like specific, like Brotherhood of Steel, maybe not having, and Caesar's Legion stuff I could see not having, but creatures and stuff I'm 100% down to have.
Right.
And Raiders are just, like you say, a more generic faction.
Yeah, they just come out of the woodwork.
I don't know how they're gonna get away with a Fallout series without having the Brotherhood of Steel in it, though. I mean,
They're probably gonna have it.
it's almost as iconic as the series itself. Like when people think of Fallout, I think the first thing that probably comes into their mind is a guy in power armor.
Yep.
Not necessarily doesn't mean they're Brotherhood of Steel, because the character.
But where would the power armor come from otherwise?
Exactly. I mean, it almost always. I mean, it's such an iconic image. I if they didn't include it, then I think that I would be really surprised.
a part of the entire DNA would be missing.
Yeah, but I think what you're saying about recurring is like we don't want to see like main
Preston
characters.
Gilvey and
Actual
Arthur
characters.
Maxon and all of that stuff coming.
We
We don't want
new
Liam Neeson to be a dad.
No.
I kind of do though.
I know.
not maybe not him specifically, because I think he's got a lot of bad rap going on. I don't know specifically because I stay out of that, but as a voice actor, he was pretty good, I think. But yeah.
I'm alright with the factions and stuff. I really do just want an anthology. Talking about this quite so much has made me realise that it's just like, no, I just want an anthology. So when you mention like the Brotherhood of Steel and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see a character who is like training to be a knight within the Brotherhood of Steel and them to recreate that whole experience. And you could do some amazing stuff with the dark lighting and like the monochrome colours to show like the order of the Brotherhood, and then the next episode could be Raiders and you could have it bright and colourful, and then it creates a huge contrast between the two and kind of splits away from the whole good-evil balance, because you're like, oh, okay, so good is like really boring and dull and plain, but bad's the more fun side of it, and you can have like moral oh, there could be so much good. Why don't they hire me? Oh, I've already got shots in my head. It's so beautiful. And man, it's not gonna be as good.
Or we could move on to something else that's beautiful while you're fuming about it. And that's Death Stranding coming to PC.
This is a perfect example of like what I was talking about before. Like I've heard so much good and also just like so much like it's the most boring game in the world kind of comments and stuff.
I will say in defense to that, some of that has been from me who has never played the game.
Oh, okay. That's probably where I heard it from then.
Yeah, I have a tendency to kind of take the mick out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of
Kojima.
Thank you. I'm just brain farting today. I
That's okay,
apologize. I'm a big fan of obviously Metal Gear and even Silent Hill on the horror side of things. He did that. He did Silent Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
At the very least, he did the
first couple ones. I think
the PT. He did PT.
Right, which,
demo.
in my opinion, as someone who plays a lot of horror games, kind of set the bar for horror games. I'm a big fan of him, and I'm a big fan of his games. And I don't know, this is just one of those games that I've never managed to get and try.
Yeah. Let me mention, before you go any further,
Sure.
I want to mention the coolest aspect of this game that barely anybody touched or scratched the surface on, because they're all about, oh, you're just walking up hills and stuff like that. The main thing that I want to make sure people walk away with is that the world changes the more people are playing it.
Right.
So when this launches, it's going to be a rough, first week and a half or week or so, because no trails will be made, no roads will be paved. The starting players have it the hardest, but in turn, they can make it easier for the players that follow afterwards.
Interesting.
Which is one of the coolest things in the game. So say you walk over one set between one settlement to another, and it's really rocky and rough and stuff like that. You got BTs kind of hovering in the middle, just ready to steal your soul or whatever they do. What you can do is you can make zip lines. You can just trek across that or go across that with your motorcycle if it's smooth enough. You can, if there's an incline, if there's a decent sized hill, you can get your little package carrying hover thing. You can actually stand on it and use it as a snowboard almost. The ways you can get around to benefit other people, and everything being kind of measured in likes or helping out each other or connecting with other people without necessarily seeing them, makes it a very interesting kind of thing. And I'm not even talking about the story, man. It's just all of these players actually helping out each other over the course of you playing the game.
Do you actually ever see other people, or is it just implied?
You see the things they leave behind.
So it's implied.
Yeah.
That's cool. I kind of like that. It kind of reminds me of Dark Souls, where you can leave messages and stuff.
They can leave markers, and some of them give you buffs.
Huh.
And if their Sam has urinated in a certain spot, there's mushrooms that start growing. It's hilarious. It's still got that wackiness that
Interesting.
Kojima's known for.
You're definitely selling it for me, dude. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. And that just the atmosphere in general too. Now that I explained, you make roads by traveling them. It's all just rough terrain before you start playing.
I like that. I want to be one of the first. I like the idea of that,
because you can be the one that puts the ladders in the spot and stuff like that. Because some things are way too steep for you to just climb up. You have to have a ladder. You have to have a rope to drop yourself down. You're transporting packages, so you have to find the best way to not fall and drop them all and damage them and get a reduced reward. Obviously there's bandit types too. You can CQC with your packages, so that's fun too.
Sounds really cool, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Well, how does that work? Does it load randomly? Because obviously if you've got 1 million people playing this game and everyone puts a ladder in a different spot, you'd have a map full of 1 million ladders.
It's server tied.
Okay.
So it can only have so much of a capacity of players.
Okay.
And then whichever players are basically connected to you through that world where you started, then you can start seeing their things.
What happens if you get on a server with a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing? Can you change servers or something
No, you're kind of stuck on the one. But the benefit of that is I don't think I've ever seen a situation where any of the setups for ladders or ropes or zip lines were malicious. Mm-hmm. It's just the zip line setups are they look like football goalposts that you put up places. And those cannot fully connect sometimes because you have differing people from different servers that see somebody else's. So you have to basically connect them sometimes. But
it sounds very interesting. It sounds very ambitious.
Oh, for sure, dude.
And I kind of like that.
And the atmosphere on top of it makes it that much more
I mean, I was always very interested in it before it came out, and then it came out, and I just kind of was doing other things, and I never made it back to it. But I much prefer PC gaming than console gaming, so if it's coming out on PC, then I might consider it.
Yeah, and it's another post-apocalypse. Like, I don't know if I should, if I have to say that. It's a post-apocalypse. It just happens to be a little prettier than most.
And we love apocalypse.
Yeah, unless you're in a timefall area where the BTs are floating around, and they're invisible, and they'll just, kill you.
See, I don't really know what any of that means because I haven't played it. So
you'll find out.
Kind of like, I know they're kind of like the monsters or whatever in the game.
They're kind of ghosts.
Okay.
And BB, the not even a baby, the fetus,
right?
that's strapped to your chest is able to detect them,
right? Yeah.
And you have different ways of dealing with them over time.
I kind of just want to see Mads Mikkelsen because I've been watching Hannibal lately.
Oh yeah, dude, his acting is so good.
I like him as an actor. I think I've been a fan of his since Casino Royale, where he was the bad guy. So I'm down with that. Plus, I like what's his name? All I can think of is Walking Dead Daryl.
Norman Reedus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I'd definitely give this a try. I think you've sold it on me. Nice try, Sarge. You're not going to deter me.
I was specifically not saying anything throughout all of this.
And because it's a Steam version too, there is a head crab hat that you can get. So
like
there's that.
Fallout, or not Fallout, but like Half-Life head crab?
Yeah. Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Steam, the summer sale is currently ongoing, and we have a bunch of recommendations for you.
Yes, we do.
And they will be linked down below, all of them, alongside their prices and stuff. Should I start? Or
well, before we start, do we know how long this sale is going on? It might be a good idea to mention how, obviously it started, but what's the end date? I don't have that up at the moment.
July 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Ooh.
I've said that very poorly, but July 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific is when it ends.
So you have a little less than a week.
4 days after this is out, pretty much.
Yeah.
A little less than 4 days. So make sure pretty much as soon as you've finished listening to this, just go take a look at the stuff if anything interests you.
If somehow you don't already know about it.
Yeah.
Or browse while you're listeing.
Yeah.
Could do that too.
Yeah.
So I wrote down, obviously, a lot of the Fallout games that are at pretty outrageously low prices. If you were interested at all in getting the classic games, they are currently $2.99 each, and you can get the bundle obviously for around $9 or so. And then there's the Fallout 4 Game of the Year, which is $18. Fallout 76, which is $20. Fallout New Vegas Ultimate, which is $8. And Fallout 3 Game of the Year, which is also $8, as well as Fallout 4 VR, which is $18. And I recommend any of them, whichever one tickles your fancy, because I mean I should be the advocate for the classic games more so. Be like, get them even if you're not going to play them, because you may be enticed one day, kind of thing. And they're extremely cheap. One of the other ones I wanted to mention, or two of them I wanted to mention that were very Wastelandy, but not necessarily Fallout, was Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. Wasteland 3 is coming out in like a month. And Wasteland in general is by In Exile. It's the other half of the Interplay crew. So you have Obsidian and you have In Exile. They were initially part of the same team. So you can expect that in Wasteland in general, you're going to see Easter eggs from Fallout and a lot of inspiration from the origins of, what they had made together in a more strategy-oriented isometric situation. So I strongly recommend it. A lot of characters and humor and stuff is very much the spirit of these games. So I'm looking forward to Wasteland 3 coming out soon too, because it's got a whole brand new dialogue system where you can actually zoom in and see faces and stuff. And see them talking, and maybe their head explodes. I don't know. And the other one I wanted to recommend on the if you like your atmosphere or creepy vibes, go with Metro Exodus. That's $18. Should have said Wasteland 2 Director's Cut is $12-ish, and Metro Exodus is $18 because that is a fun series to play too. I think the bundle is not too bad either if you decide to get all 3 of the Metro games. But that's what I recommend.
They're good games.
Yeah. So who's next?
I can go next. I mean, okay. So I've actually bought a lot more than I've listed here. But these are the main ones that I think were most notable that were also different from the ones you mentioned. I actually just bought Hitman 2. I just bought the standard edition, but the entire Hitman franchise is on sale up to 84% off. Obviously, it's different prices for each one, but I mean, it's all of them. It's from the very first one to, I think, the most recent ones. I've been a big fan of the Hitman series since the first one, and I haven't played any really of the newer games, so I really took the opportunity. I have Hitman 1, which I haven't played, and I just bought Hitman 2 standard edition collection or whatever, so that's really cool. 84%, it was like, I don't remember how much it was super cheap. 84% off is a huge chunk of anything, so I think it's normally a like full priced game still, I think, or pretty darn close. So 84% off of anything is still pretty cheap.
It's about $12.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat it. If you like the Hitman games, obviously. If you don't, then it's a waste of your money.
Yeah.
Don't just buy a game because it's on sale, guys. And I mean guys as in the people listening, and not necessarily you guys. The other game that I also have purchased, this was The Outer Wilds, not to be confused with what's that other Fallout?
Outer Worlds.
Not to be
Yeah.
confused with Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds, while it's still a space type game, it's much more primitive, I think. It's such a cool game. It's weird because it's a roguelike game. Like, you are stuck in like a time loop and it restarts, and you would think that'd be kind of annoying because of the kind of game it is, but I don't know, it makes it feel very like you feel rushed, but not in a rushed way. I don't know how to explain it. It's a really amazing experience. I've only played a little bit of it and I need to play more, but it's $16.65. That's American dollars. And then, since you mentioned Fallout 4 VR, I had to mention Skyrim VR, because if the only thing more fun than shooting a gun in VR is swinging a sword in VR. Seriously, and even though I'm only borrowing a VR set from a buddy of mine, and I haven't really played much VR lately, I bought both Skyrim VR and Fallout 4 VR just like not long before we started recording the PIPCAST.
Swinging things in either of these games is fun.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward, because I mean, those both I think were full priced still, which is why I haven't bought them, because like I've got Skyrim. I bought it on, probably the Xbox back in the day. I bought regular version on Steam, and then I've got it on the Switch now as well. I mean, it's a big joke how many times Skyrim's been re-released and re-released and re-released.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was really hard for me to honestly, same thing with Fallout. I think I probably had Fallout on the console first, bought it on the PC, but them being only $17.99, that's a killer price if you own a VR headset. I haven't played either of them in VR yet, so I can't say that they're really good or really bad, but I can't imagine that they're not good.
Make sure you have the vignette set up and the teleport movement to start with.
Yeah, VR.
If you're prone to nausea in any capacity.
I'm not. So I like free movement, because teleporting, to me, it breaks the immersion factor.
Oh, it does. No, I know it does.
But yeah, if you get nauseous, if you get motion sickness easily, or like vertigo easily, or anything like that, and you've never played VR, take it slow.
It's mainly in these VR ports, though. I want to make that clear too, because Fallout 4 and Skyrim VR were not initially VR titles,
right?
So those things weren't completely considered, like, when they were in development.
And if you're used to playing them normally and then you go to jump in VR, it could be a huge culture shock.
it could make you sick.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. That's what I mean.
the main thing, because I played everything else that I had got when I first got my Vive, and Fallout 4 made me sick so fast.
Really?
Yeah. So take it slow is mainly what I'm saying. Like, you will get used to it after a while.
Sure.
But like the first little while, you absolutely need to have those settings on.
Okay.
If you're just getting used to those things.
It's good advice, definitely, because I have only experienced it slightly, like, once or twice, but it's a real thing, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if you've never done it before, probably not best to jump into quite the full-on experience like that.
Oh yeah. Start with something that keeps you stationary, like Beat Saber or something.
Right. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I bought a bunch of stuff. I bought all of the room games. I don't know if you guys ever played those. They're kind of like room escape type games, but they're really cool. They kind of remind me of the Myst games. And then a bunch of other stuff that I'm not really gonna get into just because it's a bunch. So
yeah,
those are my picks. All you, Sarge.
Alrighty, well, I bought a few different things. First up were a couple of, like, kind of bundles. I bought BioShock the Collection, which is BioShock 1, BioShock 2, both remastered versions of those games, and BioShock Infinite. That was £7.99 or $9.97 it should be. I'm obviously in the UK, so my prices are different, so apologies. I've tried to convert everything, so you have a rough idea. That's a good amount. Plus, I only ever played the original BioShock for a little bit. Even though I own, like, BioShock Infinite, it's still, like, wrapped up in cellophane, the hard copy that I've got.
Ooh.
So I figured this would be a good chance to actually be able to get and play them. Also, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Definitive Experience, which is both Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain, plus, like, a bunch of DLC cosmetic stuff by the looks of it.
Yeah,
that was $6.24 or $7.79 should be. So I was like, yeah, for that price, I'm more than happy to do it. Especially
so
seeing
good.
as the bundle was, like, cheaper than one of the individual games, I think. I was like, yeah, obviously I'm going to do that. Then I've got, like, the most expensive thing, which is, like, almost half of what I spent in total. Because, as well as the sale, if you spend £30 or $30, then you get a $5 off. So I did want to push myself over that price, because I think just with the stuff I wanted, I was already pretty close. But I bought Far Cry New Dawn, which was £15.19, which is just under $19. So that's by far the most expensive one. But I do like Far Cry, so I figured I'd get it. Because I want to play it, and I was like, yeah, that'll be my one expensive treat. But then I had a few cheaper ones. My second most expensive, actually, was Dark Souls 3, which was £10, so about $12-13. And I've beat like 2 or 3 Dark Souls bosses, and I've played Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, so I'm really not good at the games, but I love the whole aesthetic and stuff, and I'm pretty sure Dark Souls 3 will let me get screenshots, which is like half the reason I got it. I'm just gonna do Patreon wallpapers from Dark Souls 3. Yep, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get that. So, patreon.com/BADCompanySarge. If you're a patron, you get wallpapers. Even if you're not, there's actually Borderlands 2 wallpapers that I've made that are free on patreon.com/BADCompanySarge. So they're free for everyone.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to mention too, even though I haven't fully decided, I mean, we have a few days to fully decide on what we want to get still. EA had a whole bunch of their library moved over to Steam.
Oh, yeah.
From the...
Origin.
It's so memorable. Yeah, Origin. That they finally have Mass Effect 3 in Steam also.
Nice.
So you can actually get the whole Mass Effect trilogy or collection on Steam. And for the longest time, you can only get Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Yep.
So I'm still considering getting Mass Effect 3, but they still have the Origin overlay kind of like integrated with the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of up in the air, but I was seeing comments of people being like, well, just do this trick and it won't screw with your frame rate or whatever. So I might still get it just because I wanted to have the chance to play the DLCs with Mass Effect 3, like the entire thing again.
Yeah. I will say on my note as well, Titanfall 2 should be on Steam, and that is...
Yep.
I bought
if
that.
you like first-person shooters at all, play that game. Because
bought that game.
might be the best.
And
It's so good.
I think there was a slew of Epic Game Store games on here as well, because I saw it was Satisfactory, which I think was Epic Games only for a long time.
Yeah.
I know that like Borderlands 3 and I think Metro Exodus are on sale. Oh yeah, you've got Metro Exodus on here. So yeah, a bunch of games that were limited time exclusive deals are obviously on sale. Basically everything's on sale.
Yeah, it's
a nice thing about it.
It's the time to buy.
Yeah.
It's a buyer's market.
And I if you're going for anything, I know I'm kind of like pushing an opinion at this point, but Sarge was talking about Metal Gear Solid 5. It is so good for under $10. It is so good. Yeah. You need to get that game if you don't have it already.
Yeah,
just give it a shot.
Even I've bought it, and I'm constantly on here slagging off Hideo Kojima. Mm-hmm. So, if I'm going to buy it, you probably should. Plus, I don't like third-person games. Like, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about the game, but there's also enough stuff that I do like, the idea of, that for a little over $5, I was definitely going to get it. Mm-hmm. I did get 2 more very cheap games, because it's worth taking a look at what the cheapest games are, and, man... I've been annoyed at Steam during this sale because trying to work out like what the highest reduction on prices are, like there's no sort by maximum price off option, which is the only option I want. So I was able to find a couple of really nice cheap games. The original Mirror's Edge, I got that for £1.79, which is about $223. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, a couple of quid for a fairly unique and cool game, down for that. Also bought Ultimate Doom for just over £1, which is like $1.50. And yeah, that was like, I suppose, the first-person shooter I played. So I was like, yeah, let's get that on PC. Why not? So,
nice.
Well worth seeing if there's any incredibly cheap games out there, because there's some good ones.
Yep. Yeah, there might be games that you passed on in the past and forgot about, and now they're practically free.
Yeah. Start with your wish list and then go ham.
That's a good idea, actually.
Speaking of going ham, I don't know if that's a good one. Mixer is, I guess, closing down.
What?
Yeah.
They've decided to close the operations side of Mixer and are officially partnering with Facebook Gaming.
Yeah.
Which is gross to say out loud.
Yeah. What's that phrase, jumping out of the fire into the frying pan? Kind of is what I'm thinking of when I hear this.
Out of the frying pan into the fire, yeah.
Yeah, either way. Either
way, you're burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that 2 weeks ago we weren't talking about this at all, and now on this episode it's already almost old news, just shows how quickly this happened. Like, there are already reports of, like, Mixer was getting no additional growth. I don't know if you guys saw the chart, but, like, during lockdown and stuff, pretty much every streaming site was getting, I think the mean average was, like, 100% bonus growth, and Mixer was at, like, less than 1% bonus growth. Huh. It was ridiculous.
Interesting.
Mixer was not doing well. And it was obvious that changes needed to happen if it was going to save itself. But then there was literally just the announcement of, nope, go to Facebook instead.
Well, they bought off Ninja, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did that. Ninja and Shroud
and then
got signed to Mixer ages ago.
And I think their tails tucked and headed back to Twitch.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, what else are they going to do? Go to Facebook Gaming, really?
Ew.
They got offers from Facebook Gaming, and I think it was like in total like 60 million or something.
God.
But instead they got Mixer to buy each of them out, and I think like Ninja was 20 million, Shroud was like 10 million or something. So yeah, they've made a ton of money from this.
Yeah,
they're rich for life, and it's crazy. Yeah,
they don't need
crazy.
They don't need to do anything anymore.
No,
I know they could literally retire. What the? Although I'm sure they have a contract that they have to uphold.
No, they're free agents now.
Yeah.
Really?
The buying out was getting them out of any contract and stuff.
Oh,
they basically
my
got
goodness.
paid to be able to do whatever they want now.
What the heck, man?
Yeah, it's insane. Because chances are they're gonna both end up on Twitch again. I don't know if they are already. I'd imagine they probably would take a break at this point, just like have
I
a
would.
few years off.
Yeah.
Couple of decades on a beach.
But like,
Maybe.
yeah,
Gosh.
it's insane. Like how much a partnership is worth for
You have
some
to.
individuals.
You have to imagine on the other side, like if these companies are willing to pay them that much money, how much money do these people bring in for these companies? I mean, it's got to be at least 3 times that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, it's supposed to be, but I know with Ninja, the big problem was that he didn't have enough people follow him over. Because even though he was, like, huge on Twitch, by the time he went over to Mixer, obviously he did bring a lot of people over,
Sure.
but he didn't really expand the platform at all. The people he brought over, like, 99% of them were just like, okay, I'm just going to watch Ninja, and then not
Right.
anything else on Mixer.
Yeah.
and then
so,
go back to Twitch.
There's I do want to bring up a game theory video where Pat actually went over that very thing and what it means when you're trying to move an audience from one platform to another, and how little of them are actually willing to do that,
yeah.
because people are so comfortable in what they already have that when you're just like, oh, go do this. That's why people like get to the point of being annoying at the end of videos or like calls to action and stuff like that, because we have to.
Yeah, that's why instead, if you're smart, you constantly plug twitter.com/BADCompanySarge throughout a lengthy video, so that at the end, people are already used to it.
Yes. Because, well, also, like, trying to find a description on, like, a phone, for example, on a video is a bit of a pain. So, Sarge saying it out loud is actually probably doing the smartest thing out of all of us.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I'm used to watching YouTube on my Xbox, where I can't select descriptions or comments or anything like that. So the only time I ever learn about things like that is when they're said out loud, which has got me into the habit of it. It's good.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right. Every little bit of information I've ever researched or whatever, they always say to do that.
Yeah.
You know, call to action's always, like number one thing you can do for channel growth.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think we could all learn a little bit and maybe do more.
Yeah. Well, I linked that thing earlier. Nobody listening to the podcast is interested in the thing that I linked you guys. But earlier I had a link to a couple of subreddit posts that were based around general channel growth tips and tricks kind of things, more modernized one. So
I did not see that, so I apologize.
I read it. I get kind of annoyed because I'm always like, yeah, I do this stuff. It's very rare people will say something in like a channel growth thing that I don't already do or already know about.
You're right. Yeah, they always,
like-
every channel says the same thing, too. There's no new information.
99% of it is going to be the same stuff which you just need as the basics, and then it's just lots of work and a hell of a lot of luck afterwards.
I was
But
just going to say a lot of luck.
yeah, back to Mixer just briefly.
Yeah,
I actually
yeah.
went on Mixer before the podcast recording and took a quick look. Top channel had 1,500 viewers watching it, which was the like Paladin's Game official channel or whatever, and across like 99% of the channels that were live, it was just like static screens of twitch.com/ and just people plugging their Twitches. Because most of the people seem to be going over to Twitch, despite the fact that you'll be partnered with Facebook Gaming if you're already a Mixer partner. But a lot of people don't want to be going over to Facebook Gaming.
yeah,
What?
because even their video setup is trash. Like what do you think live streaming is going to do?
I mean, I've seen people live stream on Facebook.
I
like-
implore anyone to like try to upload a video and see what it takes to actually include the things that you would on a YouTube video. Like try to make a thumbnail, try to put in the valuable information, try to make a collection of some kind. Like it is so convoluted and so messy. Like it is the messiest interface I've ever seen on like an actual popular site.
It's a platform that was never designed for that purpose, trying to adapt to a popular thing.
Nope.
You know, it's just not gonna be as good as the services that are specifically designed for those services.
Yeah, and I don't know how well they've addressed all the freebooting either. I haven't heard anything about it lately, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of reasons that people are not wanting to go over to Facebook gaming. But,
Yeah.
It's got the word Facebook in it.
yes.
Let's be honest.
Yep.
I mean,
Man, if I didn't have to like interact with family members through Facebook, I don't think I'd ever boot up the site. Like, I've stopped posting my videos to like the Bad Company Sarge Facebook, and I never plug that. Like, throughout this episode of the PIPCAST, all of you will know that I'm a king of plugs at this point. I've asked Bethesda to hire me like half a dozen times and told you all about twitter.com/BadCompanySarge at every opportunity. And yet I never plug Facebook because I hate using it.
same. I mean, I do have a page, and I'll copy and paste a link of a video, but I don't interact with anyone, and no one interacts with me. It's just no one uses Facebook for that sort of thing. I get more reward. I don't want to say reward in the sense of like, give me things, but I'm rewarded more by interacting with, you know, fans and followers on Twitch, or even on the community tab on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get nothing out of Facebook, so I rarely use it.
Well, the existence of Discord has helped an absolute ton too. Like, I remember before Discord existed, like, actually having people, like, having a conversation with people even was not easy for like bridging the gap between us and people who like watching our stuff. But now people can just join my server and be like, give me Flux, please. And like, people can actually respond to that. It's more than that, by the way.
Yeah.
Discord link below. I don't know the
Yeah, but you see, you're in the unique position to edit, so you can just throw in a graphic for yours.
Oh, right. Yeah, I could.
You know, you don't have to worry about memorizing your plugs. You can just say, hey, go here. Look at that neat graphic that I just popped up on the screen. Click on that or whatever.
Yeah.
Discord is one of those that you really need people to click on rather than type in, seeing as it's normally like discord.gg/4QR capital T.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's another mess that happened. I'm
loving these
be a bit of a mess.
segues.
It's more just like an expectation at this point with Cyberpunk. Sarge, why are you sad?
There's no wall running in Cyberpunk anymore.
Aww.
It's okay, buddy.
He's so sad his microphone was cutting out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It'll come through the audio. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was some brilliant acting.
It
Hence,
was.
Should be the main of the Fallout series, you know.
You should be the protagonist.
Yeah. No, there was a little announcement, basically. Yeah, wall running has been removed due to design reasons, but apparently there's still going to be lots of flexibility in how you move in Cyberpunk. But as I've already mentioned, I was like, Titanfall 2, that's a great game, and the wall running in that was done really well and fits in organically and works beautifully.
Yep.
Like, that game was basically the reason that there was suddenly a bunch of different games which just threw in wall running. And it's a shame that Cyberpunk's not going to have it. Honestly, it's not the biggest component of that game, just looking at how the world looks for the most part. So I don't think it's gonna be that huge an issue, but I would have loved it if the game could have actually implemented wall running in a meaningful way. Sounds like they couldn't, which just sucks.
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't even know there was supposed to be wall running, and I'm really looking forward to Cyberpunk. So
There's a lot. That's the thing. There's a lot of stuff, and like not having wall running isn't the biggest issue.
as long as I can still customize my genitalia,
Oh yes,
that's all I care about. If they take that out, I'm not playing it.
the customization. They've definitely got a lot of that going on.
If I can't give my... Never mind, I'm not even gonna...
Let's move on.
Let's just move on.
So, something else that's a little bit disappointing is the latest Borderlands 3 DLC, Bounty of Blood.
Yep. We played a chunk of it together, didn't we, Sarge?
Yeah, we played through like the first 2 or 3 missions, I think, and then I ended up running off solo for the next day, and
then Dakoba and I finished it a day later or so.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No.
Really doesn't take long. Like,
it felt like the shortest one.
it is the shortest one, by far. Like, I sped through it in total, because I had to replay the first bit as well. It was probably like 4 or 5 hours for me to get through it. I was playing Speedy Zane, but I was also obviously listening to dialogue and stuff. But after like 5 hours, call it, I'd beat the main story, and I think it was like 55% completed, which is... Yeah, you're looking at maybe a 12-hour DLC there, which is not a lot. There's one vehicle I noticed, only one vehicle you can get. There's none of the actual animal mounts, even though some of the NPCs have that. The main story is very linear, and there's like no choices. There's a couple of interesting-ish mechanics, but they instantly just become like, oh, okay, this is just like walking in a straight line, it feels like. Even with teleporters being added in and jump pads, it's like, no, these don't actually really add to it in any way. So, yeah, it was a bit disappointing all round.
Yeah.
And it basically felt like they made half a DLC and then turned over the page of a calendar and it said, tomorrow, release DLC! And then they just had to quickly just throw it out there. It feels like basically the skeleton of a DLC that then got just finished up and they were like, would it be nice if we'd had another year to work on that?
Damn.
Yeah.
How much? How much does it cost?
I don't know. I'm guessing both Caedo and I have like the season pass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to say $12. I want to say that sounds...
Yeah, like individually,
It's
I'd
probably
say
more
don't
than that.
buy it. As an individual thing, it's going to be too much. A season
Right.
pass, I'd say overall, is probably going to be a decent deal if you're obviously big into Borderlands 3 and want to play lots of it. Because the other 2 DLCs were good, and we still have got a 4th DLC coming. So this one was a bit disappointing. I will say overall, it does add to the game, but it's just like, man, this could have been a lot better. And it was like, sure, I enjoyed parts of it. I got like a couple of cool pictures here and there, and there's some nice stuff going on at points, but it just could have been so much better.
Yeah. I'm not finding an actual price tag, which is a little concerning.
It'll be out there somewhere.
I was just curious. It's like, I wonder if it's, if it's like a free DLC or if it's...
Oh no, it's a paid one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the paid ones. So I'm checking on the Steam page. Oh my god, there's huge bundles and god, there's everything.
Careful now.
Bounty
Careful
of Blood. Yeah, $12
$15.
quid. So
Okay.
yeah, 12 quid, $15.
Would you say, if you knew nothing about it, $12 worth it or no? For a DLC?
I'd say that's a bit much for that one. Like, I'm pretty cheap. To be honest, looking at the Steam page, the full Borderlands bundle, which appears to be like every game and DLC pack pretty much, is 50 quid right now. Which seems alright, but for one DLC, 12 quid feels a lot to me. And that's
Especially for this
$15. Yeah, and especially for this one. Like, 10 quid a DLC, I think, is what I'd want to pay for the Borderlands 3 DLCs.
Okay.
But with the season pass, I'm paying about that amount. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's usually almost the best option to buy the pass if you are planning on keeping up with the game and playing the DLCs.
And like I had the full intention, like at the end of last year, to like continuously make more videos on it, but like I just ran out of that fortitude.
I was actually going to point out, the last video on your channel is the previous episode of the PIPCAST.
Yeah.
Which surprised me.
Yeah, it's kind of because I've been doing videos like every couple of weeks, or like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And the countdown happened to be like right before the PIPCAST. So yeah, I've slowed way down.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You gotta slow down sometimes. You don't want to burn out.
Yeah, I did pretty bad. So
yeah, and if you do burn out, you gotta slow it down to recover a bit.
Build myself back up.
Don't kill yourself, man. I think
I am not.
I think any of your fans would understand. If they're true fans, they will understand. You know,
If they're in my Discord, they know what's going on anyway. So like,
Yeah.
you know, that's pretty average. Especially if they're patrons. Like I that's where I complain.
that's where you get the vent.
All the patrons get to hear me complain, and also like the Patreon monthly updates. Check me out on Patreon /Caedogenesis.
There you go. There you go.
We have a monthly update where I share a personal story and talk about what's going on with my life. Jade was actually mentioning that you should start doing those, Sarge. But
Yeah, what's telling me to do that?
yeah,
I don't let people know my personal life, though. You're gonna see all my mental breakdowns. I don't want people knowing about them. A secret. Shh.
yeah.
I can't imagine enough being in my normal day-to-day life to be worth doing anything like that, honestly.
Okay, so my day-to-day life is very boring and like samey, but I have like past stories that I do like to share that were moments of learning a lot of the time. Like I have a horrible kissing story, like how my first kiss was ruined, and I didn't actually get an actual one until I was like late teens. Like that kind of like an
Gotcha.
embarrassing story, but not on the insane level
Right. I got you. Okay.
kind of thing.
Little insights into,
Yeah.
you know, what has made you who you are today.
Yes. I might do the
kinda
Job
cool.
Corps story one day too. I don't know.
I don't know if I could remember anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Probably doesn't help that my memory stops about 5 years ago, generally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
I've
why I
got,
did that timeline thing.
Yeah, I've got such severe memory problems that it's like, I remember like 2 details, and all my memories are memories of memories. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. It's
Speaking of nightmares,
Oh man.
damn, I almost got the transition over from rambling. Well,
Go ahead, Sarge.
That was a bit messy. Something else that's a bit messy is Fallout 76's... Actually, the most recent update isn't that messy, but there definitely have been like bugs and stuff people are reporting. But Update 20, or Patch 20, whatever you want to call it, arrived at the very end of last month, and it's added a few things. The main 2 being the Legendary Run, which is like a free season pass to the game, and Public Teams, where you basically group up with people, get a bunch of benefits, and yeah, it gets people playing together a bit more, which are both 2 good things. I will say on the Legendary Run, there's been a lot of people concerned about actually hitting kind of the max rank on that, because right now the numbers seem real tight. Like, I'm specifically playing every day and completing every challenge to earn the score which earns you XP on the Legendary Run. It's a tad complicated to just talk about, but when you see it in-game, it does actually make sense.
It's a season pass for anybody who understands the concept.
Yeah, it's just a season pass. And it's a free one. Do want to point that out, because
Yes.
because it wasn't explicitly stated as being 100% free. Like, they literally just said, hey, the season pass is going to the game, along with all the other stuff. People are like, we've got to pay for it. But no, it is free. And yeah, but it looks like it's going to be real tight to actually unlock the final rewards within, like, the 10.5 weeks, I think, in total you get for it. So people are concerned about that. But public teams are pretty good. It's got a lot more people teaming up, and also helps with XP, because there's 6 teams you can make. 3 of them are somewhat good. There's, in order of how good they are, there's the Legendary Hunting, where you get a bonus 25 XP per legendary enemy you kill, or 25% bonus XP for the legendary enemy kill, and that can be up to 4 times depending on how many people in your team. And then there's Building, which is plus 1 to 4 points of intelligence, depending on how many people. And then there's the Events one, which is plus 25 to 100% XP boost from the completing of events. So, those are the 3 teams which are anyway worth it. The other 3 teams suck, and nobody uses them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What you really should do is just switch between Building and Events, because you can change your team goal at any time if you're the team leader. That's the smart way to do it.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. That's what I was doing last night, and it works pretty well. You can also be on a team on your own.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
And
easy.
gain the benefits of, like, team challenges.
Yeah, it's a really easy one. I've actually scrolled down. Yeah, the other 3 bonuses are Charisma, Endurance, and Luck. 1 to 4 points, which...
Bleh.
Yeah, they're garbage.
Especially if you get the Secret Service Under Armour.
Yeah, I just got that.
I saw your video on it. That was like one of the things I glossed over but never really considered. Now that the shielded linings are available. Man,
Yep.
4 points to strength and endurance is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's like 4 points strength and endurance. Is it 2 points perception?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it also gives better resistances. It's like objectively the best Under Armour you can get now.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it, and now I've got nothing else I want to spend my gold on.
Yep.
It's been a nice little update. We did get the other day as well, they added in a community calendar along with like the Fallout series announcement. And over the next couple of months, there's a fair few things coming. There's the whole Wendigo Colossus event going to be showing up. But September has me worried, because I'm actually going to boot up the little community calendar so I get everything. But for September, they basically just got way too much stuff as a community calendar. Yeah, so on September, Patch 22 will release, and it'll be the second season of the whole Battle Pass thing. They'll be adding legendary perks to the game, which are like end-game perk cards across all your characters you can get. They'll be adding in daily operations, which are like a daily big heavy hitter quest by the looks of it. They'll also probably be having the Brotherhood show up a bit more over the next few months. And then in September as well, they've got One Wasteland, which is supposed to be like the huge balance patch, pretty much. That's all planned for patch 22. And I'm worried because that's so much stuff, and things are gonna go wrong.
Something's going to break.
Yeah. Like, they've just got too much stuff planned for then, which has me a bit concerned. But
Yeah, that makes sense. Can I make a mention of the broken stuff? And I actually ended up making a ticket about it because it was so broken.
ooh.
There was either a ceiling added for camp building or something else related to placing stairs not working right anymore. So I now have a set of stairs that it's my jumping off stairs for like if you have the have somebody revive you challenge.
Oh, okay.
That I can just jump off of and get knocked down and then somebody pick me up.
Yep.
I placed them because one of the challenges was to build stairs, and I was like, oh, I have this blueprint. I can just place it on the ground and then place it another time, and I'm done. But I couldn't delete them. So now I have these stairs in my front yard that I can't remove and are taking up budget. And I tried placing them at a workshop, and it removed fine. So something went wrong with camps and placing stairs, because other people in the subreddit, when I posted it there too, were just like, yeah, I'm dealing with the same issue. Yeah. So hopefully the ticket that I put in, I actually ticketed the wrong thing too, apparently.
Oh.
Like I don't like that it's so difficult to find the right thing to ticket.
The ticket system definitely needs some work. Like, I personally haven't had any problems with them, but I'm like, anyone not paying attention is going to screw this up. If you're just like slightly frustrated and like, I'm just gonna do this quickly, you're almost certain to make a mistake.
Yeah, and is there a way in game yet besides reporting players?
No.
They really need that.
Yeah, the in-game reporting sucks.
But yeah, beyond that, they are looking into, from what I saw, they are looking into reworking the ammo converter, because right now,
yes,
it is such a chore.
Yeah.
Like, you could just sit at your camp for hours and convert your ammo. Like, it will actually take that long.
So the way it works, for those who don't know, is you basically have a terminal next to this little ammo converter thing, and I'm sure you all know how Fallout terminals work. Just do that, and you have to convert a set amount of ammo, like 5 40mm grenade rounds or 15.44 rounds, and you have to go through like 3 or 4 terminal entries to convert that one time to get points, and then after you hit the max points, you have to spend them all through the same 3 or 4 pressing things over and over again, and it is crazy how terribly they've done it, when all they need to do to fix it is remove like the points limit to it, and have it so that you can just have a sliding scale for how many individual pieces of ammo you want to convert at a time.
Oh yeah.
And if they do that, it's perfect.
Yeah. Or better yet, like storing away the ammo that you want to hang on to, and then just being like, convert this into this, and then it just does the math for you. That's 2 options.
Yeah.
And like Everybody would want that, because when you go to convert ammo, you're converting the stuff that you don't use into stuff that you do. I don't think anybody is really going to be like, I want to hold on to this much just in case, kind of thing. Yeah. It's probably more along the lines of...
I have done, but...
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've got 10,000 .44 rounds, despite the fact I hate pistols. And that's after converting a bunch of it as well.
Yeah, but you would be in that situation where you're just like, I don't need any of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'd keep 1,000 and have 9,000 spare, which would be like, I don't know, about 7,000 .45 rounds, which would keep my fixer stocked up for ages. Like, it feels frustrating that they messed up that one quite so badly. Like, that seems like such an obvious thing they should have just done right.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that the biggest downside, I guess, is that that's one of the things that people were most excited about, because that was one of the soonest rewards that actually had a use, like beyond just being a cosmetic.
Yeah, it's like a day one reward that should be great.
Yeah,
it's also kind of tarnished this entire update.
Yeah,
because that's all most people are talking about at this point, despite the fact that the update overall has added in like some really nice, good stuff.
I would say it was roughly half of the Reddit posts that on the
the
day of. But they were just like, oh, converter's trash. Insert, whatever expletive in their title.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, they're looking into it. They're going to change it. My favorite part about it is, like, even for the people who aren't able to get it, like, during this legendary run, or during this... It's called legendary run, right?
Yeah.
During this event, is you can place it at your camp and other people can use it.
Yes.
And cool. I love that. I want more of that. But I just want it to be more functional.
Yeah. Just needs to be more user-friendly.
Their hearts
is crazy, because the thing is, Bethesda's actually really quite good at making things in Fallout user-friendly to casual players. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd say that's probably their strongest asset in their purchasing of the Fallout franchise. Mm-hmm. And yet they screwed it up so badly this time.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of new iteration there is on the ammo converter. I just feel bad for if somebody took a very long time to set it up the way it is now. They're gonna have to go back and redo the whole thing.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. I don't know how it all works, but I'm just hoping that it does better.
Yeah.
The next time. That's our news topics, man. We did it.
Todd Howard said it best, man. It just works.
It does. Yeah. If it doesn't work the first time, it just works the second or third or fourth time.
If it doesn't work the first time, it's a mechanic.
Yep.
It's not a bug. Remember that.
It's the post-apocalypse. Everything isn't supposed to work, Things are broken sometimes. Nukes dropped, guys. Come on, this is realism.
That is probably the best explanation I've ever heard, actually.
Yeah. That's probably why my gun occasionally just fires on its own. Nuclear radiation dust in it.
Yep.
Yeah. For a minute there, I thought you meant in real life, but then I forgot where you lived, so never mind.
No, I don't think we've got a gun in the house.
You don't think?
There's a lot of weapons in my house. It's kind of scary. I sorted out like my top desk drawer and found a knife in there the other day. I was like, what the hell is this doing here?
In case you encounter a big rat or something. I don't know.
Oh, we do actually have rats sometimes. I'd use the stick for that though.
Oh
God.
Well, we can. Yeah. Let's move on to our main Fallout topic, so everybody else can be involved with the thing that we're talking about. And it's a pretty conversational piece. Why is Bethesda retcon so much?
I don't know.
I was hoping somebody else would say something.
They haven't.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarge.
That's going to be my stance on this. I'm going to disagree with everything. It's my purpose here. I'm just going to say you're wrong over and over again until you agree with me. No.
So one of the things we were talking about the divisive Fallout fan base and the Fallout show and what we can expect, and all our expectations are going to be different. And because Interplay started with Fallout, and Bethesda ended up with Fallout. There has been some inconsistencies with the franchise and with the mythos or the lore as a whole because of that. And that could be like things like slipping out of the cracks or things not necessarily being a huge deal, and then the community making it one.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag, really.
I was gonna say, there's been nothing retconned that has, like, completely destroyed the entire franchise. It's not been like, oh, well, it turns out the nukes didn't actually get launched.
Yeah.
There's been... it's always, like, pretty minor stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a few things which are like, oh, that seems somewhat significant if you're big into the lore. But, for the most part, it's just like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe we could start with a bit of a warm up, because the the one that I wrote down meticulous notes about is a bit more of a deep dive. But
yeah, on our outline here, Caedo has like a full page just dedicated to this one thing we'll be talking about shortly.
Okay, so in Fallout 4, I assume a lot of people listening have played Fallout 4. There is a side quest called Kid in a Fridge, and that is a pretty big talking point, and also some form of defense that a lot of people like to use in why Fallout 4 is bad. It takes a weird turn sometimes when you see discussions on Fallout 4 and its merits. But with Kid in a Fridge, it was just a ghoul kid locked in a fridge, and you unlock it and you find out you decide what to do with said kid.
Yeah.
And I think people missed the joke.
Yeah.
I think that's primarily the thing, because Fallout has never been notoriously serious about things. So what people thought was it broke the whole lore of ghoulification and ghouls, simply because there was this one scenario where a kid was locked in a fridge for like 200 years or whatever, and like, oh no, my whole world is crumbling because this one kid somehow survived. It could be even as simple as a meta joke. Children can't die, ghouls can't die. This person is double undead. Like,
well, isn't there a thing where like ghouls don't have to eat or drink to survive as part of their thing?
I don't think it's
something?
ever been a big topic. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind.
I wonder if that's where the problem with that would maybe come from. Maybe I heard it somewhere recently. I remember. I've been watching a lot of different YouTube stuff lately, but I remember hearing something about ghouls. One half people say that they don't have to, and the other half is suggesting that they do, just maybe not as often. I don't know. I'm trying to understand.
Or they subsist on radiation because that's how they came into existence anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm personally, I don't think I'm familiar with Kid in a Fridge. I don't remember this from Fallout 4, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a very small, like, little quest.
Yeah. It's right outside Quincy.
Yeah.
Well, if I know anything about Bethesda, is that they work little Easter eggs and cameos and pop culture references into everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I've just checked the fandom wiki to see the behind the scenes to the two things it's directly like confirmed as referencing. Obviously, first one is the whole Indiana Jones.
I was going to say Indiana Jones. Is the thing
Yeah,
I
that was
thinking
referenced in New Vegas more specifically.
Yes, it was.
But the second one, Billy says he hid in a refrigerator to escape the bombs. This is a direct reference to the 1963 Cold War commentary film Ladybug Ladybug. The film opens with a rural elementary school facing a warning alert for an impending nuclear attack. Near the end of the film, one child, separated from the others, gets inside an old, abandoned refrigerator to hide from the bombs.
Was the kid's name Billy?
It doesn't say on this whole thing.
I think Billy is like quintessential like 50s kid.
That is 50s kid, yeah. I forgot his name even because like it is just a generic name, but that would be the name they would use, and that's Billy or Timmy or Jimmy or like something.
And
like
that's a perfect example too, because I mean, considering that Fallout is steeped in the 1950s sort of portrayal of the future, so there's a lot of 1950s inspirations and stuff. So what was going on during the 50s? Cold War, threat of nuclear annihilation. It's the whole point of it. So it stands to reason that Bethesda creators have seen a lot of those old civil, what do they call them? Civil alert, civil warning, something videos. Essentially, like what to do during a nuclear attack. Tuck and roll, and hide under your desk, and hide in the fridge because it's lined with lead or whatever. I mean, all these things existed in real life, and we look back at them with modern eyes, being like, "What the freaking heck were people thinking that was going to save them from a nuclear blast?" Knowing what we know now, and so to me, it looks like Bethesda sees that, thinks it's hilarious, puts it in the game. The end.
Yeah, and it's kind of mind blowing sometimes how it goes from just it's a simple quest. It's because you don't remember it is part of the thing. Like it's such a simple like non-big side quest. And I don't know what else to say really. It's not as big of a deal for like coming up with reasons why things like do and don't exist. Like there's so many more things to back up other. I don't know how well to word it.
This isn't necessarily the best example to...
Yeah, like a tiny exception to the general rule of all ghouls existing in the Fallout universe. You're taking this one and using... That's cherry picking. But I just used the fallacy. So...
Well, to be fair, the fans of the fans of Bethesda games. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Elder Scrolls videos.
It's the same universe according to fans, too, so it's,
I was thinking that, actually. That's where the Dwemer went, right?
Right.
To the Fallout universe. The fans of Bethesda are insane with conspiracy theories and just theories in general, and it's crazy the stuff that people come up with. So it does not surprise me in the least that there's going to be a group of people who take some stupid little side quest that doesn't mean anything and create, some theory that proves the Illuminati exist or something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't surprise me in the least.
But I would like to say there is some validity to earlier fans' frustrations with what Bethesda has done with the Fallout franchise. Like, I don't want to give that too much credit because it goes from critical to outright hatred pretty quickly sometimes. But what I noticed too in there is aspects of Fallout 4 that some of us don't enjoy so much. Like I wasn't overly keen on the perks system, like skills being completely removed and stuff like that. And where perks outright, at least a third, if not half of them, just replaced point values with just percentage values instead. Like, which it could have just as easily still been a skills and perks based system, but they just went with something more simplified for broader audience.
Right.
Circling back to
streamline it.
Circling back to the thing that Sarge was talking about making things more easily accessible, unlike the ammo converter. So that was kind of the warm-up topic. Kid in a fridge. It's not as big of a deal as some people make it out to be, and should not be used as the example of like the origins of ghouls and how ghouls are treated. Because in general, it was a reference to, you said two things at least that were more of a joke reference instead of something super serious. And that's one of the things too. To get enjoyment out of the Fallout franchise, you can't take it seriously 100% of the time.
God. How do you take it seriously at all, honestly?
We
are laughing our asses off when we disintegrate and obliterate people. I mean, there's not a whole lot of seriousness.
So, if anybody in the comments has like a particular thing that they will like defend to their death, please put it down below. But to start a conversation, not just to be like, "Brah, this is right. If you don't believe me, then." Go step into a blast zone or whatever. Like, we like to have conversations rather than, some sort of serious debate argument.
Yeah.
So the one that I wanted to bring up was the addition of Jet in the newer Fallout games. Yeah. And the reason I wrote so many notes is because the origin of Jet needs to be established before we can actually get into like why it feels like a retcon or whatever. But it's another one of those things where it's just not really that huge of a deal, but fans ended up making it a huge deal and a reason why Fallout 4 is bad. So, which is hilarious to me still. So, Jet was a chem created in Fallout 2. It was created by a character by the name of Myron. He was in one of the New Reno families. He was basically, I guess, kind of hired. He wasn't necessarily paid in money the entire time. He was paid more in prostitutes and whatever other drugs he needed. Or he was there like ace in the hole for controlling the region, because all the New Reno families were kind of vying for the region of Northern California. So the Mordinos, what they decided to do is get this kid Myron into their chem lab, known as the Stables, and they were like, hey, we need you to develop a drug. We need you to develop a drug that's extremely, extremely addictive and that we can control people with. So Myron was like, okay, let me get to work. And then what he found out was that the fumes from Brahmin dung could be inhaled and produce extremely short bursts of euphoric effects. But as a result, the come down was a lot more aggressive, making the person want it more. And that's the cycle of addiction anyway. So Myron came up with Jet, and that is the established lore in Fallout 2. Fallout 2 takes place much, much earlier than Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, but somehow, across the entire United States, Jet ends up in the East Coast as well, about 36 years later, and then 46 years later, between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. So there's after that many years, there is the possibility of caravans making it that far. That is a lot of years in between those two things. So that's not like the problem, I guess, because Harold is in Fallout 3, and he's made it from the west to the East Coast somehow. I still don't like how he ended up there, or how he ended up when he got there. But that's
Caedo
a whole
hates
different.
Trees is what he's trying to say.
But that's a whole different thing. I hate Harold being a tree. Like I have my own things that I don't like how Bethesda treated them. But Harold was a trader, and that was his thing. He was also a merchant of sorts. So that would kind of like give away that there was a trade in between these two places. Obviously, people would learn how to make Jet over time anyway, because if Myron could make it so easily, so could everybody else, especially with Brahmin everywhere. Brahmin are freaking hauling the caravans, man. Like, there's no way it could not be created or recreated, I should say. Something I should mention too is there needed to be some clarification, because there's even a canon break in Fallout 2 itself.
What?
Fallout 2 broke its own canon. And
oh man, well, clearly Bethesda must have shown up there that day and just programmed that into the game.
Yep. No,
whatever it is.
It was Todd Howard. It was Todd Howard.
Yep.
He took his time machine and he was like, "Hey guys at Interplay, we're gonna take this property and we're gonna make tons of bucks on it, but I want you to change this one thing." From Chris Avellone, the one who wrote the Fallout Bible and was responsible for a lot of the writing in Fallout 2, he posted a tweet on August 11th, 2011, that was, first of all, that the Fallout Bible was non-canon. This was 2011, so this was like right after or during, or even during New Vegas? Right after New Vegas, I think. So he established that the Fallout Bible is non-canon. Which means that the Fallout Bible itself, well, while it has a lot of extra context on how things exist in the Fallout universe, isn't gospel. It isn't 100% fact. So it leaves it up to interpretation or inspiration for other people. So one of the things that happened in Fallout 2 was that the Bishop family, one of the other New Reno gangs, from the Fallout 2 story, Mrs. Bishop got addicted to Jet and got together with Mr. Bishop before Myron was even in the picture of New Reno. So she was addicted to Jet before it was invented.
Nice.
And they got married under some sort of drug agreement. as crime families do. Arranged weddings or something. I'm not sure, but so that was the one inconsistency, and that was pointed out to Chris Avallone. He was like, "Yeah, that was a mistake we made in the writing. Myron did create Jet, but that was just a mistake." But that also could be a drug-induced confusion on how they met to begin with.
That's you making up stuff, though, to cover that. That's not allowed unless a character explicitly says
Right?
it. Everything's got to be true.
I know.
Both things have to be true, Caedo.
It all
That's how
has to
this
be
works.
That is true.
So, but the main reason that I brought up the Fallout 2 thing is because is mainly that it isn't just Bethesda that can break previously established lore. It can be a little bit more likely since they didn't start it, but they're not alone. Because the original developers also screwed up sometimes.
You're saying that anyone who's involved in creating in a huge and complex, expansive fantasy world is possible of making a mistake?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Oh, dude.
Did I just break your brain?
It's broke. I need some Jet to put me back on course.
Well, it's made from Brahmin turds, so I don't know if I would not recommend it. So in Fallout 3, you can run into this ghoul by the name of Murphy. He's like, "Hey, bring me sugar bombs, and I can make some Ultra Jet because it doesn't hit ghouls the way it does humans."
I remember him.
Yeah. So he's a reference. But you find out like throughout Fallout 3 and stuff like that, because of how containers work, you'll just find Jet in containers that are in like locked down, pressure sealed vault areas.
Yeah.
that hadn't seen the light of day since before the bombs or since right after, or the light of, I don't know what kind of lighting they use in the vaults.
Halogen.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
But so people would use that would be used as an argument too. Like, why would I find Jet in these places? Well, just because that's how the game works.
Yeah.
Whereas,
It's the same argument of Skyrim though, with like dungeons and there being lit torches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So randomly generated loot is one thing that doesn't really stand. Like, it's just loot.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was used and did have some merit was Vault 95, and it was because that there was a specific terminal that had a quote from one of the Vault-Tec scientists, I think, and they said, and I quote, "So we just shipped 15 cases of Psycho and Jet to Vault 95. This is pre-war. Let's give these addicts more of what we put them in this situation to begin with." Davison says it's to force them to make the hard choice, chems or getting clean. I say it's to cause a bloodbath. So the person that was doing the entry was kind of understanding what Vault-Tec was all about while they were doing these things. It's the rehab vault that has the experiment to where this cache of drugs opens up after a certain point. And when you arrive there, it's just gunners there, but you can see the leftovers of like all the addicts that like killed each other trying to get to these drugs.
Yeah.
But that in particular is used as a basis for like Jet being a pre-war thing, and therefore being a retcon by Bethesda. Whereas, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is the only in writing, the only actual like thing that is in universe that is described as something that breaks the established canon, but it's still not that big.
Oh my god. I'm simultaneously intrigued and slightly annoyed by this entire thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, that's basically browsing any of the forums or the subreddit or any in-depth conversation about what is established lore and what Bethesda had retconned, because it is usually like people can still grab a handful of things, but the handful of things are so minuscule that they have to list the handful of things, otherwise it doesn't really have much punch to it. At least that's what it seems like to me.
In almost every case as well, it seems to come down to, this character said this thing in an early game, and we 100% believe that everything they've said is entirely factually true and interpreted in the exact way that we've decided to interpret it.
Yes.
Right.
And that's normally the hinge point in which most of the inconsistencies are strung around. And if it's a simple case of, oh, Myron didn't actually invent Jet for the first time, he worked out how to make it, but maybe it had been worked on, like, in very small groups, like, even pre-war, but it's cow dung. Who's going to actually take that? Of course it wasn't popular pre-war, but post-war, everything's a pile of... So, yeah, they've not got a big problem with it, so it's gained a much more popularity. Like, you can easily work out ways where everything actually can make sense, and it's not that big of a deal, and it's just a case of, oh yeah, this child, let's keep in mind, wasn't the first person ever to come up with the idea of sniffing some poop.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Even though Chris Avellone was like, yeah, Myron was the creator of Jet,
Yeah.
like you said, it can still be interpreted differently, especially by the storytellers even switching hands.
Yeah, I mean, just from real-world history, I'm sure we all know that, like, the inventors of things and the founders and discoverers of places
Yep.
very rarely are actually the case.
Yep.
It's just like, that's how it's remembered.
Right.
Yep.
More so
Plus,
than...
is there anything that says, has Bethesda ever talked about keeping to the original canon from the older games?
I can't remember the exact statement, but I know there's one that's roughly along the lines of, we'd rather have fun with the franchise.
So, what that tells me is that Bethesda purchased the rights to Fallout. Therefore, they can do whatever the hell they want from that point on. So, whatever anyone has to say, like, it's like Disney purchasing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So much that was canon suddenly isn't. It's like anything that happened pre-Bethesda Fallout, technically, if you want to get technical, it never happened.
I mean...
So technically, Bethesda can say whatever the hell they want. If they want to make it a pre-war thing, then they can.
Yeah.
Because because the guy creating it out of dung or Mrs. Bishop or Mr. Bishop or whatever and all that stuff, they could be argued it never even happened.
Yeah, I mean, Bethesda could literally come out with a statement saying, yeah, everything before Fallout 3 is non-canon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They could do that.
I don't...
The fact...
They still have respect for the franchise itself. Like,
Absolutely.
we've already seen that in the games.
Absolutely.
And they're clearly not trying to retcon anything.
Oh, no. Like
there's never been an instance of them going, well, we've decided that's not the case at all, and no. They try and link stuff in and reference back to the older games a lot. There's actually going to be an update to Fallout 76 soon, which I have a feeling is going to get the whole retcon people very angry.
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff going on there, but in every single case, they just try and build upon what was previously established.
Yeah.
And it's only because there's people fine-combing through things for the most part that it gets picked up on.
Yeah. And you have to know, too, that because there is so much, they're not going to know everything.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
this little tiny tidbit of information about Jet, like this person probably didn't know who Myron was.
Right.
Like, also, he is the worst companion in Fallout 2. Take any of the dogs. He is the worst companion in Fallout 2. His voice actor was also the voice actor of Craig Boone. Just want to throw that out there, too. He's got range.
That's good.
It makes me wonder how many people at Bethesda now have ever played the original games.
I'm sure
or
a lot
if
of
they're
them
just
have.
new developers who are creating a story based upon what has been created out of Fallout 3 and so forth.
I imagine that would largely be an age thing more than anything.
Sure.
Where I imagine, like, the younger someone is on the staff, the less likely they are to have played it, and the older they more likely they are to have played it.
You can see the differences between 3 and 4. Like, in Fallout 3, there was a lot more very clear references or driving themes that were based off of the original 2 games. And And there's even more references in Fallout 4 to Fallout Tactics and stuff like that. So they are using some things from like the blimp or
Yep.
that's from Tactics. That's the only time that they're mentioned.
It is so clear that the people working on Fallout games I kind of do love the whole Fallout world in general, which was established by Interplay. It's like, it's not like they're working on this and going, "Puh, this is all garbage, let's change everything."
Yeah.
Sure glad we bought that IP. We gotta change
Yeah, so we
this,
can
like-
kill it, so we can kill it. Murder it. Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. The people who were coming up with this stuff know way more about Fallout than the developers probably do.
Well, the people who do get most annoyed are the ones who are worrying just about the lore as well. And keep in mind that being a developer is not about just knowing every single lore bit.
Right.
They have to do so many different bits of work on a game that, like, there's just any writing-based stuff on its own is only one small component.
Right.
Yeah.
And that job is going to be split between 100 people. You know, it's not one person who knows all. There's no one grand lore master of Fallout who has a giant tome of information. It's information that has been mostly probably spread word of mouth across multiple generations from the original Fallout to now. There's going to be a lot of information that's lost in translation. There's going to be a lot of information that's just lost, period. Because, I mean, how old are those games? I mean, how many people have access? I mean, more people have access to them now with Steam and everything, which is really cool.
Yeah.
For an archival purpose. But I mean, it's just like this.
You saying the word of mouth thing as well, the few times I've spoken to someone, like, I remember back when the 76 trailers started launching and more information came out, I was talking to people about, like, Fallout lore, and people were just saying, like, oh, well, the Brotherhood isn't allowed to be over there at this time because, like, they never left Lost Hills or whatever, and none of that had ever happened. And I was like, oh, okay, can you show me evidence of that? No, of course not. There's no evidence of that. People have just said, like, oh, the Brotherhood were in Lost Hills for 200 years or whatever. And people just went, yep, that sounds right, so we're going to stick with it. And so much of the stuff is people just saying things which, they sound right and they could be true, but there's no actual evidence to back it up. It's just kind of an assumption people make.
It's kind of like real life stuff. People just hear some tidbit and they're like, oh, that's true.
Yep.
No fact
humans
checks
as
needed.
well. The human race is so bad for the first thing we hear we assume to be the truth, and then anything that goes against that we're like, well, that's gotta be a lie because I've already heard the truth. It was the first thing. It's always the first thing I hear.
And I didn't want to bring up Facebook again, but
It's a prime example, though. I mean, please do bring it up because I mean, it just proves like there's no wonder the internet was so damn successful because people are like that. People are the internet. The internet is not its own thing. Like, it's just an extension of humanity, essentially. The internet, you know.
Yep,
it's crazy.
And okay, so I figure we're kind of like away from the Jet topic at this point.
Well,
let
Jet
us know
specifically.
Well, Jet specifically, yes. But there are a lot of these like retcons or lore breaks or canon destruction destroyer things, whatever you want to call them. I just think they're minor issues.
I will say as well, you don't have to like when things are changed. I personally don't like super mutants being made in other places, like before or at the same time as the Master made them. I'd much prefer it being, oh, the Master was like the sole creator of the super mutants, and then they went and made more of themselves. But it still can fit into the lore that they were made at other places, and the Master just made them better.
Yeah.
You don't have to enjoy all of the new changes and all of the, oh my god, it's a retcon, but not actually a retcon, stuff that happens.
It's making sure not to laser focus, because that's one of the things I'm sure you saw, Sarge, too, was when the negatives Fallout 4 started spreading word of mouth, that became the laser focus of many fans. And then it legitimately, and Jared can relate to this, I'm sure, ruined the game for a lot of people, because that's all they would think about while they were playing the game. You could say like the Pikmin gallery thing, like that's fun. The what's his name, the scientist dude and his dad,
the alien, not the alien guy, but the
I've been playing too much Divinity. Like, I'm not.
Brain's not in Fallout.
You mean like
mode.
Lorenzo the
Yes.
Cabots?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cabots.
That was a cool side quest. The different factions, being able to choose between them, like actually having an active choice in the result of Fallout 4. Like those things were cool, and I loved the Brotherhood in Fallout 4. A lot of people didn't, but man, I love the old school Brotherhood showing up in a blimp.
That was pretty cool. I think when it comes down to it, you're going to get out of this what you want to. You know what I mean? If you want to have fun, you're not going to give a crap about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah.
You
Try. Yeah. What I think what you're trying to say is don't do that laser focus thing. Try not to just focus on the singular thing.
Just
like,
have fun.
Don't be like those guys that were at the beginning. They were just like, voice actors and dialogue suck. Fallout 4, the entirety sucks. Like that's not realistic.
I don't like this one thing, therefore the entire product is ruined.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. And draw your own conclusions too.
Oh yeah. You know, life's way too short to let other people decide what you're going to enjoy or not enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, like I've said before, I've, come to my own sort of like enlightening, awakening type thing with other things. It's like, I don't be afraid to like something if other people don't like it. Obviously within reason.
Be a little hipster, like me.
Yeah, and you don't even have to label it as hipster. Just if you like something because, like, in the moment that you are experiencing what you're experiencing and you are smiling and it is bringing you joy, just accept that. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a hippie or anything. Just like, if you like it, and obviously you're not hurting yourself or other people. I'm not trying to get into a philosophical sort of a thing here, but like
right.
if it's something you enjoy, just enjoy it for what it is. Like, don't try to make it into some sort of conspiracy. I gotta prove that I know more about this than the people who've created it situations. Like, just enjoy it, for crying out loud. Don't ruin it for yourself.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this conversation that the three of us are having too, that hopefully you're not detecting anything malicious, because none of us have that aggressive of opinions, but we're also okay with the others not agreeing with with these like small, they're still small things, like I think that's something we do agree on.
Yeah, it's pretty much just, you don't have to like it, but try not to let it ruin everything for you.
Yes, and try not to ruin it for others too, if you don't agree. But I did want to both make it an open question, like are there retcons or lore related things that you like call into question when you're playing the Fallout games or stuff like that. Please add it in the comments, and I also want to throw a couple more out there that are fairly common. The existence of death claws, the existence of super mutants. Sarge already brought it up. The Brotherhood of Steel, like, we can't not have them in Fallout, I don't think. As well as cats. Cats haven't really been brought up too much because they're such a minor... They're just a critter, like, in the Fallout games. But in Fallout 2, they were actually extinct. Like, established as extinct. And they did show up in Fallout 4, so...
I don't remember there being cats, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe you.
Oh, there's only a few in Fallout 4 that you run into.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But there's even more in Fallout 76, because
most of them are mounted on a wall, though.
Yeah, they are. That weird house with the cats mounted on the wall.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
What if they're Khajiit? brought over?
Oh.
What if they're Khajiit brought over into the Fallout universe from the Dwemer, who are the Brotherhood of Steel? Brotherhood of Steel, Dwemer made of metal. I'm combining the two worlds together. What now? I just retconned the entire universe of Bethesda.
That's no retcon if it's true.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
All right, I think that's a good spot to leave the topic. Just make it something outrageous. What have you been playing and working on? People in the comments, as as you, Jared.
Honestly, I've only got one thing on here because it's all I've been playing for some reason is Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, I've liked it since it came out. I know a lot. It's another one of those things that's either hate it or you like it. There's really not a whole lot of middle ground. Obviously there is, but you don't hear about it. And recently they came out with the Greymore DLC, which we're back to Skyrim again.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know why. I just decided I kind of wanted to get my Elder Scrolls on, and I've played Skyrim till I'm dead inside, and everything else. So
Skyrim fatigue a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. You call it whatever you want, I guess, but I still
That's
enjoy
what we call it.
and this is coming from someone who just bought the VR version of it, so I mean, whatever. It's freaking Skyrim. It's awesome. But I felt like playing it, and I've just been having a blast with it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those things. Take it for what it is and have fun with it. If you have fun with it, then you're having fun. Is it the best Elder Scrolls experience you're going to have? Absolutely not. But it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it. I have a way of when I play like MMO type games, which I don't play often. I just have so many characters because I tend to role play my characters. I'm like, okay, what kind of character, what race is this type of character class would that be? Like all this stuff. So I've got like 10 characters that I just alternate between, and
that's great.
I never make any definitive progress, but I'm just enjoying the experience of like, just role playing a Nord and Skyrim doing stuff, or wood elf thief type thing or whatever. So yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot of, and that's probably what I'm going to do when we're done here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sounds like fun. Well, I have something I'm going to do probably when we're done here too, and that's probably play some more Divinity Original Sin 2, because I have been on a Divinity kick because Larian is coming out with Baldur's Gate 3, and I have to be ready and prepared for what kind of bullcrap they're going to bring in the strategy layer. So I was getting used to their mechanics, how things work. They do have a lot of like object moving around, stuff like that, and using that to your advantage. Summons are outrageously powerful, so I have a feeling that there's going to be some sort of summoning something or other in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. The premise of these games is very different than what I'm used to, or premise and like theming with a high fantasy RPG. First of all, it's co-op. You can play it with up to 4 people. And like each of the characters are controlled by you and your friends, which is awesome and makes the experience that much more neato. But one of the things that I noticed is that so many things in these universes, or this universe, seem a little too normalized. Like almost nothing is taboo. So, like, you just have necromancers just run around summoning demons, and they're just like, that's normal. Like, it's only when they do extra evil things when they're an evil character, or, like the lines aren't... It's not even that they're gray, it's that they're, like, not really there. Like, the characters that are evil have to declare that they're evil in order for you to tell.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, weird to me. Even though I've played so much Divinity up to this point. But you have and like elves for example are freaking weird. They can consume body parts to gain memories.
Ooh.
So they cannibalize basically. And that's normal. Like that kind of stuff that's like taboo anywhere else.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. it's very odd.
Sounds unique.
Yeah. And one of the like main selling points for people who like animals a lot is that there's a talent called Pet Pal, which allows you to speak to animals throughout the game. So there's a lot of like animal based quests. And
I thought you were going a completely different direction with that.
Oh no. So you can get some very interesting side quests with animals, and also like if you're in a dungeon or something like that, you see a rat wandering around, it'll actually give you hints on like how to deal with whatever puzzle you're going to deal with or enemies that are in the area or stuff like that.
Oh, that's cute. Snow White, like.
Yeah, but a lot of it's still depressing. Animals. Like even though it's a high fantasy, very beautiful world and story, you'll still like run into probably 2 out of 3 of the animals that you talk to are going to have something sad happening.
Oh no!
Like, I'll give an example. There was a chicken coop, as well as a bear, a young bear. So you have the chicken coop that has all these chickens. They're all worried and stuff like that. Something stole their eggs. So you go over and figure out what happened to the eggs. They're all corrupted by the void, which is the big bad source of things. So obviously you're going to have to destroy the eggs, or they're going to hatch into voidlings, and they're going to wreak havoc if they grow up. There's one surviving egg, and you bring it back to the chickens, and then you're done for now. And you come back later, and that you find out that chick is hatched, but it's also corrupted. It just hasn't fully transformed. So you take him to his dad, who's a rooster, obviously. And the rooster's like, well, I can see the void in his eyes. You're gonna have to put him out of his misery.
Oh, God.
So this whole process, you're super invested in how these chickens survive, and you have to kill the remaining one still, even though you had the egg and it hatched and stuff like that. The situation with the young bear, a little ways down the path, you see a dead mother bear, and he's like, "Where's my mom?" And you're like, "I found her body." Like, he just starts crying, and you're just like, I don't want Pet Pal anymore. But like overall, still, it's a fun game. Like, it has moments of humor too. It doesn't always hit every beat because like there's just so much dark stuff going on in the game. But yeah, I have been enjoying it. Dakoba and I have been playing through the campaign. Ended up getting Kite back into it for a little bit. So Kite might be able to actually finish the game soon too. We'll see. But that's mainly all I've been playing. I played a little bit of the 76 update, but not that much. Sarge?
Oh, I've played a ton of the 76 update, obviously. And I continue to make endless videos about 76. Yep, just non-stop. Like, I'm getting like a solid 3 or 4 videos / live streams out a week.
Forever Company Sarge.
Regardless. Yeah, there's so much of it. So tons of 76. But as well as that, I played a little bit of Fallout 3. Because I feel like Fallout 3 might be my favourite Fallout game.
Really?
I don't know, it feels the most Fallout to me.
Oh, you gotta make it a hot take, though.
Every other game sucks. Original Bethesda is the best. Interplay with garbage. Bethesda now aren't as good as they used to be. You should listen to their old music. It's better than all the new stuff.
There you go.
I was a fan of Bethesda before they were popular or hated.
Thank you, Sarge.
Yeah. So I've been playing a bit of Fallout 3. Also, I've been playing Oblivion, because over on Twitter, on the first day of every month, I'm planning on announcing a new game that I'm going to beat that month.
Ah.
And the first one was Oblivion, because I've already been playing it, and it's been taking me ages, so I'm like, I'm just going to get it done this month. Mm-hmm. I just beat Shivering Isles yesterday.
What'd you think?
So nice. I did that. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. The problem is that it's supposed to be all like, it's Shigorus land, so it's all madness and stuff, and everyone's far too normal. Like,
it's pretty tame.
Yeah. It's like real tame, and everything works the way you expect it to. And I'm like, man, they could have... Like, there were so many mild things that I was going through, like, well, this is a basic, like, pot, and it's got garbage loot in it. This is a fancy chest, and it's got the best loot in it. Why not just flip that whole scale? And that helps reflect, like, the whole madness of the world, where you have these huge chests everywhere, and they're just filled with, like, a paintbrush or whatever. And then you have, like, half a shattered urn and it's got like the legendary sword of god killing. Like, just doing stuff like that would have been much better for really reflecting the whole madness of the world. And then when you have order taking over and stuff, maybe that gets flipped again. You can show the changes more than just having crystals about, which are already there. I don't care about crystal. I have complaints with it. I obviously have complaints, but I'm looking forward to getting the game just finished and done with.
Yeah.
So that I can just have it ticked off a list. And I've now got like a little Steam group of games, which is just called Games to Beat, so that I can basically tick them off a list. And that'll all be good. It's kind of like, my plan for this year is to beat a bunch of games. If I can do one a month, every month, I'll be happy. And yeah, next month I got one to really look forward to, because Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning should be coming out. Yeah.
That game takes forever to beat, though.
Oh no, hold up. How many hours have I got on the original Kingdom of Amalur? I got 69 hours.
Nice.
On the original Kingdoms of Amalur, and that was like probably about 3 playthroughs.
Oh,
I had about.
I'm
3
fast
as well.
at games. Yeah.
I'm at 115 hours.
And see, that sounds more like what I probably had too. It was over 100 hours.
Yeah, I speed through stuff. Like, Caedo see me in Borderlands.
Yeah.
I'm
Speedy's
not
ain't-
a speed runner, but I do just zoom through everything.
Yeah.
And when there's subtitles and text as well, I'm really bad for just skipping through, because I'm a very fast reader, and characters are like, in the beginning of time, and I just read the entire thing. I'm just like, cool, I know everything that's going on, I've absorbed all the information by the time he's finished saying like the first 10 words. It's like, cool, done.
Nice.
But yeah,
You ever watch the Epic NPC Man on YouTube?
I have not.
I do.
You sound
Skip,
like one
skip,
of the
skip.
Yeah.
No.
It's worth a watch if you get a chance. If you like games and nerdy stuff, it's pretty awesome.
I am sure you've seen at least one of them.
Yeah, they're
I've
all
probably
over
seen
the
a clip
place.
somewhere, yeah.
Where
They
Greg
pretty
the
much-
Garlic Farmer snaps is my favorite one.
Yeah, that's just good stuff.
That's pretty much been it for me. So, I guess if people want to follow us, there's links in the description, or you can listen to me plug everything of my own constantly throughout the PIPCAST, so I'll let the other two do some of their own plugging now.
Oh, okay. Anything / Caedo Genesis, usually. No space needed, no underscore, just Caedo Genesis. If you want to support any of us on Patreon, we have Patreons. Those are linked down below, and it's patreon.com/Caedo Genesis. Jared, is that the same for you, Jared?
I do have Patreon. What is the actual thing? Yeah, it's just Jarred Gaming. Most of the things for me as well is got Jarred Gaming or Jarred in it in some form or another. Or because of the way text works, Jarred has 2 R's in it, and even though I differentiate the 1 R from red and the last R in jar as being 2 separate things, the internet usually reads it as 1 word, and there's a lot of Jareds out there. So there's for like Facebook and Twitter stuff like that, I usually have like the real Jarred or the real official Jarred or whatever, just to change it up. But yeah, I got all the usual stuff. I've even got, and so something I've been trying to push actually is a subreddit. So you can find me on Reddit, Jarred Gaming, on Reddit as well.
Awesome.
You know, not a whole lot going on there yet, but I'm trying to grow it. So, but all the other usual stuff, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, yada yada yada. You know, those links will be in the description. Don't be lazy. Go look at them and click on them, and make sure you click on subscribe and follow for everyone here.
Everyone here. Everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Even the people in the comments.
Yep. Everyone in the comments who's subscribe to them.
Well, first of all, be safe. And we will catch you in the next PIPCAST 3000, 2 weeks from now. You take care of yourselves.
Bye.